If you speak belief into them, saying like, oh yeah, it's not a problem. There's been other people just like you who started with Ukon. They're now some of the biggest leaders in the company. They're like, really? You sure? Yeah, I'm sure. So they take that belief and go, okay, I can do it. But if you're like, oh yeah, typically people start with Ukon, they suck, they make no money. I'm not saying you would say that, but you know, just like the tonality could come across like a very negative downer thing, then that person might be like, oh, forget it. I'll go find a different business. You are up first. How's it going? How you doing?
Good.
Amazing. Good to have you here. I'm excited to dive into your question and kind of hash it all out. So you said, so excited for another coaching call. My question is about selling the Ukon Sigma. Every now and then there will be someone who truly cannot get a loan to afford one of the machines, not even a loan to put down the down payment, which is usually just less than $2,000 for the US. For these individuals, would you say it's appropriate to sell them the Ukon Sigma and have them start their business that way, even though it's not much commission back? Especially in the case of someone who is truly obsessed with the business model and is so eager to start. My thought process is this: if I sell the Ukon Sigma, I'm not getting the most amount of commission back, but I'm still getting points, so I'm still putting towards the rank advancement, and I'm still getting a team member who could make more sales and contribute to my overall points. I've heard some conflicting advice, so I'm just seeking clarity. Yeah, this is a great question. Of course, my answer is typically it depends on the circumstance as opposed to just like a blanket rule. Sometimes I like to test people a little bit of how creative they can get with coming up with the money, because sometimes they just resort to the path of least resistance, like, oh, I don't have the money, I can only do the Ukon. It's like, did you even try to like raise the money, get creative with the money, get resourceful for the money, get a co-signer for them? Like, did you even try, right? That's kind of the point. If they truly tried and that's like actually their last resort, then okay, I could see that working. With these scenarios, I never make it about me. I never make it about my points. I never make it about my commission. I completely detach from any of that, because at the end of the day, who am I to get in the way of someone getting a shot or a chance to create a really incredible business with an adjic? And so I'm not going to discourage them or tell them it's not the best way to start or they should start another way, etc. With that being said, the Ukon Sigma, which is the annual subscription, is definitely a better way to go, because that Ukon will become a permanent ID from that transaction, which means that after the year, even if they don't renew it, their ID number is permanent. And so therefore they will go on the same rules as when they sell the machines of needing to be active every 90 days with the direct sale, or they start to lose the special point on indirect sales. So there's that. But I always like to manage expectations with individuals who are kind of starting in a less favorable way. Is when you don't have the water in your life, the way we do with the trifecta and a quad, the K8, the Nespa, which are very much daily uses for it. Like, you drink so much water, you cook with it, you bathe with it. Like, if you actually use your machine correctly and you are someone who values being a clean person and showers once or twice a day, you are going to get amazing benefits from the products of not only feeling the benefits of the products, but believing in the company, believing in the products. If you only have Ukon, you can for sure get benefits with the Ukon, but like, what are you drinking it with? Bottled water, whatever. So it's like, it could be harder for people to stick to the habit of taking 5 to 10 Ukons every single day without forgetting. And so they're much more likely to have lesser belief in the products, which could transfer to having a hard time selling it in the DMs, on calls. So I just manage expectations and say, hey, look, you can for sure start this way. I understand your financial situation, but I want you to remember that you want to save up and get yourself a machine, a K8 and an ESPA as quickly as possible, so that you have the full experience of this company and you truly believe in it for what it is, as opposed to just getting a fraction of the experience with the Ukon. However, in the meantime, you unlock full commissions on all products, because Ukon allows you to sell the machines and still make money. And therefore, if they're really business motivated, like you mentioned, where they see the potential and they're super excited and they really, really want this and they're hungry and coachable and willing, then fantastic, you know? But just letting them know this isn't, I wouldn't recommend this as a permanent solution, but more so a temporary one, where in the next 3 to 6 months, definitely try to get yourself a K8 and a Nespa and reinvest those commissions you make from your sales directly into the products. And then you're essentially not waiting to start. You've gotten a head start. You're going through the training. You're generating leads. Like you're doing the thing that you need to do, but you're just getting yourself into this like halfway first, and then completing your trifecta or your quad a little bit later on, and then it's totally fine. Some of the people who are the biggest success stories in the history of Enagic have also been the ones with the least amount of money when they started. So we have to always remember that. Like if your back is really against the wall financially, you're in debt, you have just a really bad circumstance, and you come into this thing and you want it badly, like you can become a millionaire here, right? And so imagine that millionaire happens through you because you encourage them to do the Ukon rather than talk them out of it because you don't get much commission back or you don't get points or whatever, which I don't think you don't want to do that. You want to let people know, like, build them up and say, look, there's people in this company that have literally started with a down payment on a machine. They spent their last dollar, they sold their car, they took the bus instead, like all kinds of really inspiring stories, and went on to make millions of dollars and set their family up for generations. And like that could be you as well. But I need to make sure that I'm setting up the expectations correctly and you understand what this means. And if they're all in for that, then sign them up and be on your way. And then the best thing you can do for anybody that you start is try to get them a sale in their first 7 days. That first week that somebody joins your team is when they are the most coachable, the most hungry, the most willing to listen to anything that you tell them to do. They're pretty much going to say yes, they'll do it. And so if you can get them a machine sale, a trifecta sale, a quad sale in that first week, even though they started with an Ukon, that's going to lock them into the business. They're going to be like, this is the real deal, man. Let's go, right? So everybody on this call should try to have a increased amount of probability that a new person can make money. And when we sell a trifecta or a quad, we get cash back from the company. So in a way, they get a physical check if you're in Canada and the US, and it makes them feel like it's real because they got a check from the company, which is one of the benefits of a trifecta and a quad, even though you got it from buying the products yourself. But if you only start with one product like an Ukon, you don't get a cash back check. So you got to try to create that cash back by making an actual sale to further create that belief like this is the real deal business. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you so much. That brings a lot of clarity. I like what you said about not making it about us because the conflicting advice I heard was very much about me and my business. The person was just talking about how, yeah, you don't want to create that pattern for your business. You won't get much commission back. I have an Ukon, so I would still get points, but the reasoning was very much just about me. And I've come across people who are very, very passionate, but they just do not have the money and they have the money for the Ukon. And I don't bring it up, but they let me know about their financial situation. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh, they literally have the money for the Ukon right there, but they can't move forward. And I've turned people down because of the advice that I've heard, and I've said, go save up, sort of thing. And I can tell that I've lost them. Like it's not gonna
Exactly.
happen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if you think about it, if you've ever purchased something on like a layaway or things were out of stock, like this happens, it's been happening to me and my wife recently where we're buying furniture for
Mm,
furnishing our new home, and we'll have a bunch of stuff in like a bed and a bedside table and a lamp and whatever. So there, let's say there's 5 or 10 things in the shopping cart. We go to check out and it's like, oh, well, this thing's out of stock. It's coming in 8 to 12 weeks. You know what I'm saying? And we're like, oh, a little bit disappointed. We still pay. Some of it arrives in 1 or 2 weeks. Some of it comes in 6 weeks. Some of it comes in 12 weeks. So we get fragmented. The package arrives in different timeline. Think about it the same way. So you have a quad or a trifecta. Ukon is one of those products. I'm going to get the
right.
Ukon now, and I'm going to get the other one in 2 months, and I'm going to get another one in 4 months, another one in 6 months. And eventually, in 6 months from today, I'll still have my quad. I just purchased it in parts. Who
Mhm.
cares? Because then you have skin in the game. Then it
Mhm.
feels real. You've invested. You're going to take it more seriously, right? If you spend $2,000 on Ukon, like hopefully at least you take the damn Ukon and put it in your mouth and swallow it and get the benefits, right? Like hopefully that's the case. So anyway, so then while you're in the Ukon, like you're in the business with Ukon, then you as the sponsor is like, okay, we'll complete this training. Nothing is holding you back from selling trifectas and quads. Like you can get going. And then by the way that you spin it into a positive thing is let's say they start with Ukon and then they sell 2 or 3 or 4 trifectas and quads. By the time they purchase their K8, they can sell it to themselves in their 3A lane as opposed to their 1A lane. So now you flip it as the thing that is usually the negative thing of like, you don't want to sell you don't want to sell people in your 1A so that you can make more commission off of their group sales in 2A and 3A. That's usually the positive spin. We flip it and go, no, no, no. You sell it to other people in the 1A to get yourself higher qualified when you're ready to get the K8 or the NESPA, sell yourself in the 3A or the 4A, and then you end up building underneath that to 6A2. So actually, this is perfect. This strategy couldn't be better for where you are right now in your circumstances. This is exactly why we have people start with the Ukon, people that are in your circumstances, and a lot of them have become the biggest success stories in the company. I'm very excited for you. So you frame it as the best case scenario rather than it's like, yeah, this kind of sucks and like your business is going to be shitty and like, you know what I mean? And they're like, oh, and they're like deflated. You flip it and you're like, no, 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 this is the best thing that could happen for you. Because by the time you're ready to get your next products, you'll just be at a higher part of the business. So the goal right now is how can we get you to 3A before you're ready to get your K8? How can we get you to 4A before you're ready to get your NESPA? And get them inspired by this target of 21 products, 7 trifectas or 5 quads, and they're like, cool, got it. And it's like nothing else matters except for you getting 5 quads. That's it. It's the only goal that you have. And by you selling 5 quads, you'll make this much commission. And guess what? That will cover your K8. You reinvest. There you go. Boom. Then you sell a few more quads, you get your NESPA, and boom. Now you're fully paid off your investment for all of your Nagic products. You built a business that is now producing $4,000 per package sale that you make. Like you're winning and you can do all of that in the next 6 to 12 months. Let's go. So would you like to buy your Ukon on credit card or do you want to stop by the office and pick it up in person? You just close the sale with a crossroads close, this or that, this or that. Just assume the sale. Like it's already done. They already bought the Ukon. You don't hum and haw and be like, I don't know, think it over. I know it's not the best way to start, but maybe it's no. You just get excited for them. You get excited for their potential. You already speak to them as if they're a 6A2-3, even though, yes, in a perfect world, they might have started a different way, but that's not where they are in their journey, and that's okay. They can still turn it around and win big. And that little difference of like how you approach it versus how you could approach it, it frames their view of this business, especially in the start, right? Because they'll borrow your belief. If you speak belief into them, saying like, oh yeah, it's not a problem. There's been other people just like you who started with Ukon. They're now some of the biggest leaders in the company. They're like, really? You sure? Yeah, I'm sure. So they take that belief and go, okay, I can do it. But if you're like, oh yeah, typically people start with Ukon, they suck, they make no money. Or I'm not saying you would say that, but you know, just like the tonality could come across like a very negative downer thing, then that person might be like, oh, forget it. I'll go find a different business. I'll go do something. So yeah, and then here's the other factor too. I believe in karma. I believe in paying it forward. I believe in helping people when they're in a tough, situation. So when you look back on your career 10 years from now, 20 years from now with a Nagic, there'll be a handful of these people who may have started with Ukon. There'll be much less than people who start with the packages and financing and other things. It's almost like a form of compassionate, no, I wouldn't say charity. It's not quite charity, but it's compassionate service to not make it about you in those situations, make it about them and what could help them turn their life around. And then usually what happens in a short window after you help someone start with Ukon is like you get a full pay quad or trifecta like next week. You know what I mean? That you probably wouldn't have gotten if you didn't help this person. So that's how I kind of always have noticed is that when I do something selfless, something that benefits me more directly happens pretty soon afterwards.
Yeah.
And that track record has been like that for my 12-year career.